Hi. Hello. Hi, everybody. Are you... Come in. I think I did this the last time.
I thought you were about to like step on my tummy.
No, come right. Careful. Look out for the dog. Is that a dog? What is that? Nope. It's just a sentient pile of hair. Close the door. Push the hair outside.
That's my
Hi.
father.
Welcome everybody to what is it again? The Story Bazaar. I guess this would be
Story Bazaar.
This is officially.
I actually was toying around with the idea. Well, last summer we did call them all Story Bazaar Road to Redemptions. I've been toying with the idea, like, should we, for this, since it's familiar at this point, should we nix Story Bazaar and just call it Road to Redemption : and then the.
I'm about
this
it.
is just Road to Redemption. I feel like Story Bazaar.
Then we're gonna cut it clean here. Put one of those, the boop thing.
Yeah, the beep.
Yeah, put that in there, and then hi again. Hello, hi. Welcome to Road to Redemption 1.5.
Ooh,
the winding path.
What? Or should we make it 1.5, like Lion King 1.5?
I'm gonna stab somebody.
The winding path. I love it.
Anyway, we are sort of doing I didn't even think about this, but 1.5. If you take the point out, 15. It's
15 years later.
Yeah, exactly. So we're doing sort of the this is our tentative, but it's actually canonically like relevant filler arc for the 15-year time skip that we did. I don't know if we put that to wax.
I think filler as more of a definition,
filling in,
like filling in, not filler in the like colloquial.
Yeah, no, not like in an anime sense of like you can skip this and you'll still get
not
the story.
as in the beach episode.
This is like
the beach is not filler. Fuck you.
Yeah,
no. People love to say that like the beach episode is filler. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, the beach episode is explicitly not filler.
Yeah,
it's almost like they do that as like a joke too.
For the villains and humanizing the villain characters. Man.
To be fair,
the Great Divide,
Avatar story
that
is
shit's
different.
filler.
The Avatar story is different.
You get nerds going and you can't say
You said the
anything.
beach episode. I know exactly what you fucking meant.
Not that one.
Come on.
No.
Come
We're
on.
talking about big titty beach episodes.
Come on.
You're very aggressive.
Come on. Anyway, speaking of that, we literally are filling in sort of like without playing traditional D&D. I'm kind of doing a little bit of a play off of the Powered by the Apocalypse dice system where it's just D6s and a new character sheet based off of 1, 2, 3 system that I've done off of kind of their characters sort of overall stats in their D&D stuff and their personality stuff for my own sort of thing. So they didn't have any hand in this, but we're going to be using this system and doing mostly sort of like a role play based thing. I'm hoping like if there is combat, like the dice roll will tell us if the combat was a win or a loss. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I'll be briefly touching on some stuff from the past season of Road to Redemption, but if you have not already listened to that, go back and do
What
that.
Are you doing here?
Please.
Go back. Please.
Why are you here? This isn't for you. But if you have,
I will say the Road to Redemption episodes are some of our more downloaded episodes, so a lot of people have listened to those.
But a
lot of our listeners, I should say.
But if you haven't already, I got a few sort of things here that I'm going to run through. This will be a semi choose your own adventure meets relationship forging with various characters and groups of the world. So like basically if you've ever played a JRPG, there's the downtime where you're in sort of like the city and you go have noodles with your friend and you learn a little bit more about your friend and your bond gets a little closer. But I'm trying to stay away from bond because I don't want this to feel too much like the Adventure Zone stuff, because that's not what this is. It's my own sort of thing within my own world, and I want to keep it sort of that way. Like the stuff's available for everyone to make their own game off of it, so it's not like beholden to them. Anyway, from here on, from mad scientist wizards to blood spewing parasitic dragon, a mold menace that turned and a mold menace that's turned family. The three of you have not only made a name for yourselves, but earned a bit of time out of the limelight and focus and everything that could be important to you. The rate of success is based on, like I said, a 2d6 plus these different skills that I have allocated, which are mind, body, and soul. So mind being like your analytical intelligence and maybe like magic-based stuff. So looking at you, Carveth, or not Carveth, Jesus Christ, Kornoth. Then we have body, which is like the brawn, bravery, sort of like intimidated and kind of machismo stuff. And then we have soul, which I know that doesn't seem like this, but it's like your more personable things and your sort of persuasion and intimidation kind of things and like relationship building stuff. So like if you meet an NPC and like you want them to train you, you're going to roll some brawn, but maybe if you want to have like a heart to heart with them during that training session, you'll roll soul. Or if you're trying to use magic to try and dupe them, like the system's pretty simple.
You just tell us what to do and we'll do it.
Exactly. Decisions made here, no matter the size, weight, or success, will have some sort of significant impact. So be mindful of what you're doing. And I think from here, like I said, it's sort of picking up like right after the events, like maybe that first year after the events of Road to Redemption. And we see, we come to a scene of restuary workers moving through Siegfried's old base, this giant black diamond made out of these cubes of this ever-shifting black material, almost opalescent kind of coloration. As they're moving certain artifacts, they haven't quite cleared everything out because it's not fully been a year. This is like somewhere in the midst of that, and they come upon a room nearing his quarters. And getting into this area was a bit tough, but having the mask that you all gave them got them through certain clearance. But when it came to his quarters, they were unsuccessful in opening it with that sort of clearance level key. So after a while of prying, they broke into his inner sanctum and found the typical sort of like leavings of a mad scientist with like a cot in a corner, haphazard notes and letters and things. But the thing that caught their eye was a small room with a black drawn curtain. And as they walked to the back of this room, it was sort of like a inner sanctum treasury, a place where Siegfried kept things out of the prying eyes of those he maybe worked with or even his children. And to the very back of that room, almost drinking in the light of the area given off by the various sort of tubes and pipes and wirings throughout this base, is a stone slab that seems to have been moved with the stone it was sort of uncovered in itself, left sort of half uncovered. And they begin to take photographs and document these things, but one of the workers steps forward to examine it closer and to try and continue the excavation process that Siegfried seemed to have not continued. And in that instant, everyone within the base falls unconscious. Some days pass and they wake up in Restuary, in their bunks and their cots, fine. No visible or even magical leavings of like any traces of any harm done to these people or these workers. Even Kama and Hadan, two of the head people as well as the headmaster of the Guild of Restuary, found themselves unconscious as well as this person passed some sort of threshold, maybe a failsafe of Siegfried's, they're not sure. But all they have were the pictures and few brief notes that they had taken on the room and the various artifacts in there. And upon returning to Siegfried's base later that week, after assessing that they were physically and sort of magically fine, they found that the base itself was sealed. Completely impenetrable. There is no even leaving of a door. And this is both concerning and fascinating to the guild at large as this rumor spreads of this slab and what they see in some of the photos. And Kornoth, you would have a little bit of clearance and probably be in the room as they talked about this. I don't know how much you would have sort of stepped in during that time because you guys were kind of given sort of like, not a leave of like, you know what I mean? Like a leave of absence, but they were like, hey, take a break. You guys did a world-saving event.
Paid vacation.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. You guys paid for this good deed. If you want to go do like minor guild work, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But any of this major stuff we'll kind of handle from here. But they bring you in and they show you this slab, and I think they would probably invite your teammates as well in on this, because what they found was a bit strange. You remember a bit seeing this blown up on a sort of screen similar to the Arclight tablet, but a lot larger, nearing the Well of Arclight, a very powerful magical artifact that is at the center of Restuary itself. And the screen is sort of projected off of this orb of pure arcana as they pull up this image. And it is a stone slab beset in chunks of roughly carved out stone, quickly and maybe haphazardly pulled away from where it was. And nearing the top of it, you see a very familiar symbol, and a symbol that you got brief information from Eldrick's friend, Zeknog. The eye that is the key that they were using, the eye that has been kind of vaguely on clothing of people working for Siegfried and things like that. But it's in a different placement, as it almost looks less like an eye in this, in that the veins and sort of rune-like structure stretch out like branches. And then that's when you see the base of what looks like a tree in the ground, and its roots are many carvings of those same sort of runic patterns going downward. And each of those branches and each of those runes are penetrating sort of a divot or like a carving into this stone slab that look purposefully like made, but not for something to necessarily slot in. But where these branches and these roots begin to sort of almost seem to overgrow, they are penetrating these different carvings. And around these carvings, the runes are different. And these runes show varying symbols of, if any of you know Primordial, if any of you speak Primordial. If not, you could roll me a mind check real quick if you want to see if you can get something off of this. So the check goes 1 to 6 is a failure, 7 to 10 is like a minor success. Oh no, 7 to 9 is a minor success, and then 10 and above is total success. So
I got a 7.
That's fine. That's a minor success.
Would you say either of my swords, my friends, can speak Primordial?
Are you assuming your swords are sentient?
They definitely are.
I mean, they are, but I don't believe that I gave them any extra languages, because I think they were just level 1 characters, because they were meant to be something else later.
If Kornoth has the spell comprehend languages, can he just use that to read it?
In this context, I would say no, just because we're not necessarily playing it in that way. But I'd say you can roll a 1. If you get a 1 on one of those dice, you can re-roll it.
So we all
flying
get to
by
roll?
the seat of my pants on this. Yeah, if you want to, you don't have to.
I'll roll. Fuck it.
It can be either like a.
Oh, fuck you! I just rolled 2 2s.
Oh, great, love it. Yeah, well, it's fine. I feel like as you're looking
10.
up through this, 10. Oh shit, 10.
Yeah.
No, you notice right away that
2d6, right?
2d6 plus your mind. You notice that each of the symbols or the runes around these different sort of indentions on the slab are different planes of existence.
Oh, goddamn.
And there's one nearing the very top of where it's sort of, the branches sort of kind of arc into a point that is what you can see as our home dimension, Celaterra. And above that plane, as the branches are sort of piercing, or not above it, but like the plane is above, the branches are piercing, and amongst those branches is a groove of this otherworldly black glass that you all recognize as the same material made out of Siegfried's lair. Yes. And it's not just like a spilt, happenstanced thing. As you look and they sort of scan through this sort of slideshow of these pictures, they have more detailed pictures of this, and it is a coiled entity of some kind. A spiraling sort of almost like conch or like shell-like pattern, like a spiral, just flat sort of on like a 2D
like a
surface.
magic conch.
And at its base going up towards the portal and sort of spilling out into a few of the runes is that same black material. And there is a face, a crude sort of like many-eyed face with a split seam down the center.
Oh, God.
And there's other engravings along the edging of it that speaks of the dangers of, and it's sort of like roughly like clean, so it's not like all a full sentence. You see world, and there's a break, and there's branch, and there's a break, timberman, break, and worm, but not like the fantasy dragon worm. Like, I don't want people to get confused, but like literal
like
WORM. Yes. And that's when you notice nearing the base of the tree, at the roots, there are these sort of almost like, I don't know a way to describe it other than like, you know how when you see like a corpse in like a coffin or like a sarcophagus, these figures that are like sort of featureless with large axes with runes carved in the axes but not in the figures themselves. They're the only thing sort of not necessarily dressed in the runes that make up the rest of the sort of slab, and they are sort of aligned at the bottom, kind of like almost like statuesque, like chessboard pieces. And Kama and a couple of the other people sort of share glances after you all kind of take this information in, and Kama kind of clears her throat and she's like, I will be honest, I don't know what any of this means. I have absolutely zero clue outside of the fact that it's been a week and we woke up here. We took pictures, we took notes of what we saw with our eyes, but whatever happened can't be good. So
yeah, that beats me. Kornoth, you have any idea about any of this?
I would say it is good for nightmare material.
For sure. What I will say is not to keep things vague for lack of trying, but we know this symbol, and she holds up the cracked mask that they have been using as a makeshift key, no longer works on the base. It didn't work on his room, and maybe when we broke in, we tripped something. Maybe approaching the slab did something. We don't know. But whatever this is a powerful enough magic to kickstart his base one last time and lock us out, I guess. But there is no coincidence in that the material that is on this very slab is the same material he had been working with. This, and she flips through a couple of panels on her Arclight tab, this black blood, as they'd mentioned. He had been creating life with it, apparently creating structures with it. We have a few
gems with it.
Yeah, well, perhaps that is a part of it. I just assumed it might have been a magical thing outside of it. Is there traces of the blood? And she's swiping through to the reports on the shards that they had recovered for you to make the whole gem. And he doesn't really go into too much detail as to whether or not it was corrupted by this, but there are traces of abyssal magic, so you could be very well onto something.
The man felt like a one-trick pony to me, so I just
definitely. And the more troubling thing is,
he is super dead, though, right? We're sure of that.
So that's
okay.
That's
we're
just
not
it.
sure.
that is another thing too. We had moved his body as well as a few of the artifacts, but not everything out of his base. And we had a sort of makeshift camp setting things up as we were moving things and cataloging what you hadn't already cataloged for us. The only problem is in the week span of us, losing consciousness and waking up back here in Restuary, which we are still trying to understand. None of the artifacts we moved were taken, but his body did disappear.
Okay,
this
sounds about right.
No, that's probably.
And this is
fine,
where the troubling news is. We don't know if it were this Bagan fellow that he was working with that may have had something to do with this, or maybe even his children, the experiments he had made with the abyssal blood. But you remember you had mentioned when you were doing a scan, Boognacious, of his base, when you had started the plot to kill him, that there was a powerful source of this abyssal magic. Well, we found it before this sort of break in the timeline, if you will. And we believe that the imagery we are seeing here on the slab is beginning to happen. Whatever this means, whatever this is, which is not his plot.
Is it a prophecy?
It would appear so. And it seems he tried to kickstart it by tainting this branch of the world tree that had broken through into our world. And this black blood, as we know it, is the rotting sap of one of the most powerful, I wouldn't say artifacts, structural pieces of reality itself. The world tree, it reaches us not physically how it is now. It's not supposed to do that. This is known knowledge, as the Timbermen are sort of demigod-like beings that live within the spirit realm where the world tree is located, its actual base. And they cut back the roots and beat back the branches to stop these tears into our world and many other planes, and sort of, to suffice it to say, I believe he knew long before the events of our world that caused us to come here to the never-ending darkness, that there was something happening. Yeah. And he used the chaos of the events that happened to get closer and have first go at it. And I don't know what he did, but it set in motion something very ominous. We will be doing more research on the photos we have, but we have to find a way to get physically back there to uncover more of it. Maybe some sort of plan, but that is not your responsibility. We just wanted to bring you all in as you were the closest to everything happening here. You still are free to.
What is Jinhan with us?
I don't know. Would Jinhan be with you, Kornoth?
Yeah, I mean, I would bring him.
I would assume
whether or not he wants to go is a different question.
Does I don't know respond
if
in any kind of way to?
I think he's kind of just like you see him sort of worried. With no, not bland, just like whatever blank face. But I think he does have like a sort of confused worry, as like he can see everybody is sort of a bit tense from the situation, and he doesn't necessarily seem to have like a flash over his eyes of like, I recognize these things or this stuff. He's he kind of sort of maybe motions to you, Kornoth. He's like, is this was this the dragon that you fought? The Draco Leech?
No.
Is this
way bigger. The dragon.
This is?
No. The dragon was way bigger. This is Kornoth boasting. It's not true.
Oh. He's eating it up. No, I don't. There's no need to roll for that. I don't think, because that's like he like for all intents and purposes, he's kind of looking up to you like a big brother situation. So he's just kind of like, oh, that's. Well, this should be no no problem if
Oh no,
whatever this
absolutely
weird
not.
snail worm shows up from a tree, or I'll be honest, I don't know a lot of this. I don't know a lot.
I'm gonna
But
be honest, Gina, and I was about to ask you. This is all going right over my head too. I wanted to see if
if
you're.
I know, and he kind of, you see him nervously kind of twiddle his thumbs and kind of look down at his hands. He's like, I know I have some part of whatever that was or is, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't never seen that rock. He's being the most earnest possible about that. Like, I don't. I mean,
yeah. Listen, ice.
I've seen bugs. I've seen trees. I've seen holes.
We don't call them bugs.
I think I know.
And he looks over at Boognacious. I'm so sorry. I didn't. I meant
you
like
don't, you don't need to apologize.
like
Gina,
insects,
you're
like not
some
like.
amalgamation of God knows what.
Yeah,
I think you're fine.
My
You're
cousin
weird.
says I'm made out of mold and like 3 guys.
You're like kind of a leech and like kind of mold. Like you're.
Molten,
and I'm also that
3
dragon.
guys
I
is
think.
like the lowest estimate. It's
Leeches
possible
are
there's
kind
more
of
in there.
bugs.
You know,
It's mostly
if
fine.
I can help in any way,
Yeah.
even if it's just my body, because you guys do all these experiments and tests, whatever, I'm down. I'm just happy to be here. He just kind of smiles, and Kama just it is refreshing to see sort of some calm in this. But again, we've got a lot of work on our plate. This is not for you four to trouble yourself with at this moment, when we can get back within sort of a physical proximity of the slab and the base. We will see if we need more assistance maybe with you all. But for now, just keep your Arclight tablet on you, Kornoth. You're free to come and go as you please. We will probably be in the lower levels if you should find yourself down there. You know where we are. Hadan will be running things here at base side if you need anything, while I and a team of some of our more arcana-based and inclined students come with me to see if we can't futz around with that base and get that door back open. Feel free to, fuck off, I guess. I don't know. I'm quite stressed, and if
That
I'm
was
being
an
honest,
inspiring speech. I feel inspired to. No,
listen,
I'm being genuine. That was great.
if I can be, and she sort of takes these small goggles that she had kind of pressed on the on her forehead off and sets them on the table, and you can see there's like a obvious ring of like dirt and sweat from her having recently woken up after having been doing all this archaeology shit, and she kind of puts her elbow on the desk and she shuts the slideshow off. I know you all as far as I can tolerate Kornoth on a day-to-day basis, and he lives here. But you managed to save what little of our world we have left for relatively nothing but congratulations so far. I mean, we did pay you for the main portion of the mission because you brought back, and she kind of, you don't see this, but like she thinks back to the fucked up gene pod that you guys definitely wheeled back, that y'all asked to be bringing. And it's definitely just a picture of all 4 of you guys doing like a thumbs up in front of a fucked up, like spewing pink liquid and sparks, like broken glass gene pod. And she's just like, yeah. And just, you hear as she sends you the money over in that moment, and she just, and you got shit done. Whether or not you want that to be a thing that you're capable of, you've proven yourselves to be. And it's just nice to have someone who can, I don't know, follow an order, then not follow that order, then really not follow that order, then fully follow that order at the end of it all.
Look, if you call us if you want results, not
exactly
for,
and between you and me, Restuary Restuary has this air of, oh, we're so prim and proper and we keep track of all this stuff. I've been doing this for a while. Like, since I've been down here, that's just been what I've had a clipboard almost surgically attached to my hand at this point. I'd love a break, but there is no rest for people who uncover spooky things in the ground. So we are going to go continue to uncover these spooky things. You guys take as much time as you need. As things progress, you will know when we know. We just wanted you to know that we might need potentially to save the world, because there was a crazy scientist who you killed. Congratulations, that part's so great.
Well, I'm busy for the next 15 years, so
I'm pretty booked.
It cut to, and it's like the fucking like clueless ass beach guitars, like and it's the title, Winding Path. Okay, so let's get into the actual meat and potato. I just wanted to put a bit of story and let y'all kind of touch it, but like that's foreshadowing for some stuff coming up in the.
I'm intrigued.
Anyway, so after that pressing sort of foreshadowing ass news, you've got was actually you, Boognacious. So
I kind of
three. I have three options for you, but I would like to hear if you have something in mind.
So, Alandi, God, I keep doing that. I'm used to saying
I did it too. It's okay.
Jeremy
it's okay.
it's been a
while.
Wrong universe.
Jeremy and I talked recently because Boognacious, the whole Road to Redemption thing kind of was a little directionless. I didn't really have a set like character arc I wanted him to go on, some sort of motivation really. His whole thing was that he was kind of an outcast because of his upbringing with the Hive and all that, and was kind of a loner that found a group that he felt like he belonged in, like that kind of classic thing. So I think what I had in mind originally was that at least in the first period after this past adventure, at the very least at first, I think that he was a little afraid to, not afraid, that's not quite the right word, but he wasn't looking forward to the group splitting up. And I think he wanted to mostly just assist Kornoth and Jinhan on restoring their family, their ancestry, and like the mission that they're on. He really wanted to continue working with them. I think as this time period progressed, I think he kind of realized that he can't just spend all of his time worrying about Kornoth specifically. He needed to kind of find his own thing. And I think if you're cool with it, I think I want Boognacious to kind of form a new posse, like a secondary posse. Like these are his main homies, obviously. But I kind of picture him wanting to find another, like a couple more people to form a new posse of those kinds of outcasts.
Do you have a place in mind, like an idea? Because a thing we didn't really touch on too much. There is a tavern in Redemption called The Hole. Yeah, where people hang out. It's kind of like a more, like, for lack of a better term, a hole in the wall sort of spot where, I would say outcasty kind of types hang out. Would you like to go there, or would you like to go like in the wilds or something? So like one of the freeholds. Us
kind of more roaming like the middle levels, so we're not like in the shit, we're not in the deep, really scary stuff, but we're in those like middle levels where like shit can pop off, but you also might find like civilians here who might get caught off guard by something. Like we want to be kind of like patrolmen, but not like police patrolmen.
So it's, I was just about to ask.
Are you going to make friends with those lizard riders?
Kornoth and Jinhan, are they with you with this? If that's
no. So I wanted to spend the first couple years kind of latched on to Kornoth because I felt like I had to. Like I finally found people that were like my people that I didn't want to let go of that. And as the years progressed, I think I kind of realized that I can form multiple relationships and find more people.
Right. Yeah. No. Okay. I think. especially after the events that you guys kind of partook in and everything going on, there's a bit more of a like effort to make a sort of less of a necessity to you everybody needing to use the grand lift and more of like infrastructure, like not quite roads, right, but like there's like more pathways, and you'll see like a few guard patrols of like some of the Booglin that do guard each of the layers as we had established, and a few other just adventurers kind of rolling by here and there, and almost like a trail in a park meets like like the sidewalk nearing a highway, as you see some of the some people riding on like various large spiders and like kind of insectoid kind of like means of transportation, and some of the what I'm calling now Douglas riders, which are the people who ride the gecko mole, and they kind of zip by. Dewgals, Douglas. And the Douglas riders, they don't necessarily stick to the trails because of the way that the Douglas work, and you can see some of them zip up the walls and are kind of doing spin outs as they're going, and you are sort of amongst this hustle and bustle and kind of passing by a few little like camps and things, and not quite like any cities proper. There's like a few small villages if you continue to venture out, but what is it that you are trying to specifically accomplish right now?
Like, what is... So by that, do you mean like pre me forming my group, like while I'm just or after I form my group?
Do you want to like approach any of these like small, like there's, like I said, there's a few adventure parties like setting out as well on these trails and stuff. You see a couple of the riders like taking off or getting onto their Douglas.
I think that Boognacious is mostly kind of like offering help to people, and more like if I meet someone that it feels right, then it's right. Then, you know, like I'm not like looking like handing out flyers, being like forming a new posse.
I know what I mean. So you're looking for some people who look like they're in need of like some kind of help. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
so
not even just in need of help, but like people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is perfect. I think you kind of like, not to play into it, but you stick out a little bit too, because you've got the Vantis skin on, the which you've learned through research with Restuary is the name of the living armor that you acquired in Siegfried's base. And I think as you sort of are like nervously kind of, not like nervous in that like you're like jittery or anything like that, but you're like you're stepping out on your own and kind of doing your own thing, and like you said, you're kind of closed off. You can see the sort of star-like patterns in the suit kind of like shifting and like less vibrant to kind of help calm, like not necessarily calm you down, but like draw less attention to you. It's like the suit's sort of reacting to you, kind of like, okay, I'm just trying to blend in, I'm just trying to kind of get across. And you see as you're making your way, there is actually a Douglas rider and a half elf person. You can't quite tell. They have their hair up in a tight purple, like almost like periwinkle, like light purple bun. And the Douglas rider is another female that's half orc who's like really stocky, and she's kind of feeding the Douglas a handful of what looks like these like mealworms covered in some sort of like chalky like dust, but they're like huge sort of like fantasy mealworms. I just don't want people to think
but like fantasy.
Yeah, like just big fat chunky like Timon. I was thinking like Timon and Pumbaa-ass fucking grubs. Worms, and she's sort of feeding the Douglas, and they're having a conversation, and they're kind of having a conversation to themselves as they're looking at over a map, and you can see they're both kind of packing things up from like what appears to be the remnants of a camp, and they notice you kind of off on the trail, and they're like, the rider kind of stops as she's feeding the Douglas. Holy shit, you look like the vacuum of space. I have not seen the sky in so long. What are you? Hello? And her friend who was reading the map kind of, you can't just bombard people with questions and pointing immediate things out that you see about them.
No,
like, that's stuff you keep in your brain.
That's quite all right.
And she folds up her map. She's like, sorry about my eager friend. It's just, I I take it that might have off-put you a little bit. We're a little off-put ourselves, as you can see. We're a little...
If you knew some of the cats I've spent some time around, you got to have thicker skin than that in these parts.
And
yeah,
and when she
Kornoth
you notice
sneezes.
the Douglas rider, a lot of them all wear these sort of like not wingsuits, but like these like kind of like almost like a skydiver suits with like the wings underneath the arms in case they fall off when they're like up in the air on the thing. And she turns and she's got this like big braid of like red and black hair kind of hanging down over one shoulder, and she's got these like goggles that are clearly made out of whatever the beast is that makes up these wingsuits over her eyes, and she kind of lifts it up to these like really bright green eyes, and she's just like, "Did you say you hang out with cats? That's fucking cool."
Well, no,
do you adventure with these cats?
Sorry, colloquial.
Sorry about my friend. She tends to take a lot of things pretty literally.
It's like a dragon guy and like a giant, I think.
Oh,
Eldrick sneezes.
It's like a giant dickhead. Yeah.
somewhere Eldrick sneezes. She's like, I'm so sorry. We've been chatting it up this whole time. I'm Shelby, and this is this very literal one here next to me feeding our Douglas is shit. I gotta come up with a good name for this one. Damn. I'm gonna say Olga. Olga and Shelby, yeah.
Which one is which?
Olga is the tall the tall half orc that was feeding the Douglas, and Shelby is the one that was reading the map with the purple bun.
Well, it's nice to meet you, Shelby and Olga. Name's Lil Crumb. Who we got here?
Oh, this is Ironsides. And she kind of pats him, and you see the pattern on the side where she actually pats him is like a more dull gray. You can kind of tell this Douglas is a little older than some of the other ones. And she's like, "Yep, this is my older brother's." And before we went out on our adventuring stuff for the first time, he was like, "Why don't you take old Ironside with you?" And so it's just been us. He's now a family man, so he's not doing adventuring anymore.
May I? And I ask if I can pet. Ironsides.
And as you, please go ahead. And as you put your hand up to pet the Douglas, your suit reacts to that and sort of separates the suit away from your actual physical hand, and you touch this sort of almost like it feels like similar to like feathers in a weird way, in that like they're like very delicate, but like they're like hard in certain points towards the base of them, and it's like this downy green that kind of fades into this gray, and he's very warm to the touch. 6 legs, and you can kind of see those little treads just constantly spinning at like a low speed as he just sits stationary there on the bottom of his little feet, kicking up a little dust. And he's got kind of like a piggish sort of snout with a little horn at the base of his nose, and he doesn't like brush up into you or anything, but he kind of hip bumps you away from him, like, "I'm eating, leave me alone."
Yeah.
and gives sort of a
that definitely makes me chuckle.
And that definitely means he wants you to leave him the fuck alone.
Yeah, I got that much.
And Shelby just kind of laughs at that as Olga goes back to tending to the Douglas, and she's like, "So what do you do? You headed to one of the guilds around here? Like,
no,
I know is up the way."
No, I've done some work with Restuary, but I'm kind of just out here looking for people who need help. Just doing my part.
Well, we both work. My friend here, Olga, doesn't work for any of the guilds up here. She's actually from one of the rider camps down here in the Middlelands. But I work actually at the Hook and Cleaver back in Redemption. I'm actually one of their cleavers, which is essentially like a fancy way of saying a magic chef.
Oh.
And we're doing a bit of a grocery run, I guess you could call it. It's more complex than walking down an aisle like you might have done back in. Are you from the surf? I shouldn't assume everyone's from the surface.
Oh no, I'm a Booglan. I'm from
my
down
family.
here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I know it's a little hard to see with the whole magic armor.
I mean, I just assumed you'd been adventuring for a while, so you might have Yeah, that shouldn't make assumptions, Look at me being an Olga. And Olga kind of looks up like, what the hell? But we are actually going to collect a few items for the Day of Descent's coming up here. A couple months from now, and I'm trying to practice this dish I want to present, but some of the ingredients we're going to get are a bit out of my purview. You want to tag along, or?
Yeah, let's do it. I don't have anything
Cool.
going on.
So yeah, you guys take off down. I think they're fully game, especially Olga. Olga's just like, fuck it, I'm just ready to ride.
I will say Boognacious is given the nature of how my old group was thrust upon me, and I didn't have to work for that one. Really, I'm like overly trying to be cool. Like I'm trying to win them over. I didn't have to win the other two over. We were kind of thrust into this mission together.
Yeah, no, I think they're just like, screw it, we're already lost anyway. We gotta make a couple different stops. We're not going too far.
Yeah.
And so do you hop on the Douglas with them as well?
If they'll let me, yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you can see now along its back, it has like these section sort of spots with like varying saddle like connections, and like there's not enough for three.
I shouldn't need one.
Two spaces. You could kind of sandwich in the middle. We're headed to the Underwood first to pick up some things, but then
sweet. I'm very familiar with the Underwood.
But after that, then we get to show you some fun stuff. And so they pack up the rest of their gear onto the saddlebags of the Douglas as you climb on in between the two of them, and Olga reaches into one of the bags and is like, I think you should be good. Your suit looks like
I'll be good.
Wear these. And Shelby's like, oh right, and she takes off these like small round glasses she was using and puts on these goggles that are kind of made out of that same material as like the creature that the wingsuit that Olga is wearing. And you see that Shelby's wearing like a backpack situation, but it's not like a backpack with like a bunch of pouches or pockets or anything. It's just kind of got one sort of seal situation, which you can kind of take a guess that it's like maybe a parachute thing. And she's like, I don't want to, do you need a parachute or something? Can you climb?
No, I'll be okay.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. And she's like, because we got an extra one. Just okay. So they pack everything up and you guys take off, and immediately Olga kind of zips past another party that was coming by, kicking up a bunch of dust as she travels up a wall, and you guys go through a tunnel you probably weren't even paying attention to, nearing the ceiling. And this tunnel winds, and you pop up out of another tunnel, but not on the floor of the Underwood. You guys are where the Underwood, like the whole conceit of the Underwood. You are at the surface near the base of all these upside down hanging mushrooms. And it's pretty trippy. It might like kind of disorient you, but your suit kind of allocates to the motion of your eyes as you're kind of taking everything in, and you see these like varying shades of like pinks and blues as you guys finally stop at this sort of base area near a particularly thick mushroom, and you can see some pittons already stuck in there where maybe they had come here before, and the Douglas kind of hangs right over underneath it, and you guys take a rope down and they start to tie things off as you start to collect mushrooms.
And I want to show off, because I have spider climb. I want to show off and just like walk up and down this tree without needing their rope or anything. Like I'm definitely doing it a lot quicker than.
I would say give me a body roll for that one. To see if you show off well enough or if you fuck it up. I'm gonna make you roll on this.
That's an
so far
8.
You've just been yapping. That's an 8 on the body roll. I'd say I'd say you they start setting up this rope to climb down, and you just kind of like scuttle off on your own off down this stalk of this mushroom and begin to leap effortlessly for a little bit. You kind of stumble off of a bit of the spores left on a couple of the bottoms of the caps of these, and you catch yourself before it looks a little too, and you see them kind of, oh, okay, yeah. Like not like crazy, like, whoa, they're not throwing you a part of it. They're just like, cool, all right. Didn't really, Shelby kind of pipes up, didn't really tell you what we were looking for.
That I am just grabbing shit. Definitely.
That's
I'm
fair.
just like
No,
bringing
that's
her
totally
like
fine.
a handful of stuff, just being like,
Give
is any
me-
of this what you needed?
Yeah, give me no. Give me a mind roll to see what kind of mushrooms you start collecting,
That's not
since you don't
good.
really know what you're. Ooh boy.
That's a 6.
Okay. So I think after like a little bit, you see them setting up like these little like, they have these weighted rope bridges that they throw from cap to cap of these different mushrooms, and they kind of like monkey bar style climb to these different areas. And after like an hour or so, you guys collect a big basket each on your backs of these different mushrooms, and they have these sort of beige and kind of like oranges and these like sort of like denoting kind of like, okay, these are sort of culinary application mushrooms. These aren't like super crazy. You come back with the brightest, most insane basket of neon mushrooms. There's a few other ones peppered in there that might be edible, but they are so buried beneath a lot of these like trippy mushrooms. And
Almost
Shelby is like,
exclusively poison.
and Olga's like, oh man, you always tell me I'm not supposed to collect these ones. This is awesome. What kind of mushrooms are these, dude? And Olga just grabs a handful of these mushrooms and just eats them.
Oh shit!
And Shelby's like, you see like the color leave her face for a second, and she's like pulls this book off of like a little like side pouch she has on her thing, and she's like flipping through it and like trying to like stop on each page and look at different mushrooms. So good news, these are edible.
So I did good.
They're not necessarily cooking per se. These are like, maybe you want to put a creature to sleep.
These are not poison.
Maybe you want to. Well, poison is subjective, right? Like, you're sleeping because of the poison. You're not necessarily dying because of it, but.
I take a few and stick them in my pocket for later.
I was just about to say, I tell you, she was going to say, I tell you what, and she's like going through the book, not that one. And she takes this, as she pulls it from your hand, it almost looks like the Mario, like 1-Up mushroom, but like hyper realistic face on the base of the stalk of this mushroom. And the white portions of the like splotches on it are flashing these hypnotic colors every now and then. And it's just looking at you like, and she just throws it across the fucking. Don't eat that. Do not eat that. You don't. It's not a good. It's not. No. It's not a good trip. Trust me. That's the kind of trip that'll make you reevaluate adventuring. That's the kind of trip that'll make you really get into pottering in your 40s. Like this. You don't want to go down that road. I had a buddy. He tried it once. He's a plumber now.
Boo.
I was waiting for someone to say something about it, but yeah, no. You guys kind of gather these up, and you see as you guys are having this conversation, Olga is just sprawled out on the base of this mushroom cap, making spore angels, and her eyes are like just like trippy, sort of like spiral patterns and colors. As you guys sort of collect Olga and their basket of actual edible mushrooms, she checks off this thing in her list. She's like, all right, so I mentioned this part was the easy part. The next thing that we're doing, this part is a little more difficult. We have to, I guess some of your mushrooms might come in handy, but I don't really want to risk it. We've got to catch something alive. Specifically, can't kill it. We've got to catch something, though. It's an ingredient that I've been looking for and tracking near the Underwood, and I'm thinking if we could maybe, I don't know, and you see her kind of scratch the back of her head.
You're hunting man.
Let me see some of the mushrooms that you pocketed real quick.
Right.
And she takes some of the mushrooms and she pulls out a little mortar and pestle and creates like a little quick, sort of this like really like metallic magenta powder. And she kind of puts it into a little pouch and ties it off with a bag. If all else fails with what we have planned, you throw this at the thing and potentially it should go to sleep. All fine. No problem.
All right.
Right? These aren't the terrible, crazy, trip your balls off, go berserk mushrooms like the one you almost ate. This is just, ooh, sleepy. I'm a little happy, right? So it's called an omu thrice, and she reaches into her bag and she pulls out. It's like a guild scroll, sort of like a wanted poster situation, and it's like what you can see. It looks literally like an egg with a crack in the center of it and 2 stark yellow eyes. That's all you see.
All right.
And she's like, this. It may not seem like it would hide very easily amongst a bunch of mushrooms, but it moves incredibly fast. And so even if we did stop it, if we stop it too quickly, we could kill it, right? So we want to try and ease it into maybe some sort of trap or into a corner or something and subdue it in some sort of way. And that's where that little baggie you got coming in. Me and Olga will try to chase it out if we find it. Again, we last tracked it here to the Underwood when we were searching around here, and I think this could be a make or break for my dish.
Since I have spent extensive amounts of time in the Underwood, I am familiar with these, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You would be familiar with I would say the Underwood in this sort of thing. You wouldn't have seen maybe in your necessarily tracking in that you were looking for it, but you would have seen it in passing and known of. Yeah, exactly. So you kind of share this information that you are in fact a ranger and like have tracked around these ones. She's like, oh, this is perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go set up here, and she hands you this. It's the little bag that she tied up with the magenta powder and this tiny whistle, and there's 3 of these little whistles, and it's like this sort of like distorted bird warble, and it's like, we're going to go to different corners of this area that we've already fenced off, and we're going to wait, and we're going to play these or use these whistles periodically, and hopefully attract it to. And she's like, da 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 da, and she's got like a quick sort of like diced mushroom salad that she had been preparing. She's like, I'm just going to leave this here. It lives in the fucking Underwood. I'm sure it'd love a tasty snack, right? We start calling it out like, hey, there's food over here. Oh, and she blows into this thing, and it's like the worst, most auto-tuned bird whistle you've ever heard. Like
it's
real
like
bad
Travis
stuff.
Scott falling off the stage in auto-tune.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God, I was gonna make that reference, but I didn't. Okay, perfect. Yes, you're in my mind's eye. Yes, like. But she's like, we're gonna set up. It might take a little time, but I don't know. I think we cross paths for a good reason. I think we got. I think it's better with more numbers. I think that's our biggest plan, because Douglas isn't gonna help. Douglas is hanging out. You look up and it's upside down, literally eating mushrooms and like some of the downy grass, just fully ignoring the whole scene down here, waiting for you guys to come back with like a rope hanging down from it. Can't really do much with him, but with you, somebody who's a seasoned person, somebody who knows these woods, I think we might have a shot. So go ahead, and I'm going to say this one would be body, maybe? Give me a body roll. Oh, I guess you're persuading it. You could do either body or soul. Either one.
I'm going to do soul then.
Yeah. Because you're trying to attract this thing, I guess. I could see a call for that.
That's a 10.
It's a 10. Okay, yeah. So you guys wait a couple minutes after setting up this little sort of like leaf-based trap and like one of those rope snares and the mushrooms, and y'all are waiting and periodically doing the call. And I hope to God you put that Travis Scott noise a few times. And then suddenly you see some of the further back mushrooms from where you guys have set this up starting to sway. Like moving, like something in the distance is coming in this direction. And these larger mushrooms that are hanging down are swaying. That's pretty strange. And I think you even see Shelby from her vantage point and Olga kind of look like, uh-oh. And they look at you, and you see it break through, and you see that pair of stark yellow eyes. And a large egg-like mass sort of peering between a few of the mushrooms in the most, almost like it appears and then shifts behind another mushroom. And it pounces out, and what you see is quite literally the same thing you saw crudely drawn on that guild flyer. A creature whose body is mostly comprised of the shell of what appears to be a bluish white off-colored speckled egg with a single centered crack and 2 stark yellow eyes peering out of the center, and 4 stocky, almost hand-like legs comprised of yellow, sort of blotchy skin and scales clinging to the head of the mushroom that the pittons and rope that you guys had climbed down, well, that Shelby and Olga climbed down with. And it steps out, and it's about half the size of the mushroom itself. So it's pretty big, like a lot bigger than you guys were expecting. And it sort of sniffs the air for a bit and peers at the pile of mushrooms and climbs over, and it doesn't seem to have any sort of other means of sensing outside of the sort of centered face or lack thereof that you see, and it peers to the left and right before it begins to slowly peck and nibble at, and you see a thin orange beak coming from the shadow of the egg itself and begin to eat some of the mushrooms. And Shelby looks to Olga, and Olga nods and pulls this rope, and you see 2 of the 4 legs get caught in this rope as you see Olga not let go of the rope but start to descend down to the floor of the underwood as this thing is now drawn up into the air, up near the base of the mushroom where the pitons are, and is now dangling and thrashing. What do you do?
I'm gonna use my spider climb to climb up to it and throw that powder in its face and its eyes.
Hell yeah! Go ahead and give me a body for that one.
That's 11.
Hell yeah! Oh, perfect. Yeah, no, you heard the rules. You're going off the fucking fumes of trying to impress your new friends, and you nail it true. You climb up the stalk of that thing. You sort of jump off, and Jordan style, with the power of your suit, reach out and flick the satchel of powder into the center of this egg-like creature's face, and there's a puff of sparkling pink as it thrashes about and eyes you for a second, and its beak sort of snares out at you, but you deftly use your spider climb to get behind the stalk as it bites a chunk out of the mushroom before it slowly starts to lose its fight, its give, and its second legs that are free go limp. And Shelby, in a different sort of mood, is like, fuck yeah, like immediately, yeah. Like the most excited you've seen her this entire time. And you hear Olga at the bottom, did we win?
Yeah, we got it.
Fuck yeah. And Olga yells a celebratory fuck yeah as you all share this high five moment. And Olga begins to, with 2, you see, hand axes, climb her way back up the stalk of a mushroom growing underneath and hop to the rope that was dangling down and join you all to secure this Douglas. It's about 2 Olgas big, I'd say. If Olga's bigger than both you and Shelby, it's about 2 Olgas big. This thing's pretty huge, and it's definitely going to take some doing, but they call the Douglas down and you guys tie it to its tail as you guys share this moment of like victory. There's like adrenaline in the air, and Shelby and Olga are just like super excited and cheering as they're like kind of packing things in. And Shelby walks up to me and she's like, I don't know what sent you, but thanks, man. This was impossible the last few times we've come out here and done that, and it's amazing to think what one person could do.
Well, I'm just glad I could help.
Definitely. I mean, hey, I don't know if you're working for, like you said, you have some affiliation with Restuary, but if you ever want to come stop by the Hook and Cleaver, I'm more than sure Sean wouldn't, or Master Sean wouldn't mind you coming in to try some of the food we make. And she kind of like nervously blushes a bit and rubs the back of her head. I don't do friend stuff. Olga just kind of forced me into this, and we're cool, and I love Olga so much.
Yeah,
but just
I try to play it cool. I'm just like, yeah, if I have time, I might swing by the Hook and Cleaver. We'll see. I'll if I can make time. I'll be there. I'll be there.
Olga is throwing a bag over across the Douglas as she's just finished tying up the Omuthrice to its the hindquarters near the tail, and she just kind of like does like a and's like doing like one of these numbers like where she's like just twisting her fingers into her cheeks like at both of you. You guys are friends. You guys are gonna hold hands sometime. Maybe even share a snack. What is it? Celery and peanut butter.
Is that like a joke like, about me being a bug?
And Shelby's just like, what? Is that do you think that's a culinary thing I make? Shelby's famous celery and peanut butter? You think I go out into the wilds and look for peanut butter and
yeah, ants.
And she just kind of turns back to you, still a little flustered, but like the tension's cut by this weird off joke from Olga. And she's just like, yeah, man. I mean, I don't mean to brag, but I'm not the worst chef. Let's just put it as that.
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
And y'all share a laugh as Olga whistles to the Douglas, and it kind of turns and hops back onto one of the newer installed trails as you guys make your way back to Redemption proper. And I think I don't have a way to denote this, but I think you could count these two as
my posse,
new friends,
new posse.
Yeah, definitely. No, I wouldn't. I don't know necessarily new posse, but these are definitely people you could count on. Since you've scratched their back, they're definitely going to be willing to scratch yours in the future. All right, so from there we're going to move down now to Eldrick for one of your things. Were a little tense with some old friendship business with you and Bagan.
Absolutely.
You've recently made new friends with some people you've never met in your life before, and went on a life affirming sort of world-saving mission with them.
Mm-hmm.
What is on Eldrick's mind right now?
So, Eldrick, I think through his experiences with the group, did find a little bit more confidence. So, before he wasn't very confident in his skills. He wasn't really great around people. He wasn't a real people person. He was very kind of anxious and just to himself, and very nervous. I think he becomes a little bit more, I would say, intentional in what he's doing. So I think after his meeting with Bagan, and I think you might have to remind me, I lost that Dragon Chess game, correct?
Yes,
for the first time ever. I think that exchange was kind of an eye opener, saying okay, I can change, but so can he. So can Bagan, and he's changing in ways that I don't know. Eldrick's first thoughts, I would say, is he needs to get the upper hand on Bagan in some form or fashion, because we know we're gonna meet again. We both know it's only a matter of time of when. Eldrick is going to begin his search for a sword master to learn.
Not where I thought this was going at all. I thought you were like, okay, no, but yeah, I like it. Yeah.
So I think Eldrick is he's kind of gotten by on his barbarian-esque ways, just rage and cleave and hack and slash through things in a tizzy. I think he wants to become a little bit more refined and a little bit more intentional on his maneuvers and his attacks and what he wants to do. So
I think that's definitely something you could do. Did you have a place in mind you wanted to search for this potential sword trainer, sword master?
I think I would just go off of rumors, really. Just kind of work a couple of jobs through different guilds.
No, for sure. No, I wouldn't even. I mean, we can play it out like that, but give me a soul roll to see if you could put your ear to the ground and see if you can talk to some folks and see if you hear any rumors of a potential sword master or something of that nature.
Oh, not a good start. Oh, okay, not bad. So I rolled a 1 and a 6. That's 7 plus 2, 9.
9? Okay, yeah, that's a big success. I think it takes you a couple weeks. You're still new to the different areas, and I don't think you're spending too much time in any given place. You're asking around in a more seedier bar-like areas, and maybe even some of the freeholds. You're not necessarily sticking to city-wise. You're just looking for somebody who can train you. And I think in doing so, you stumble into you end up I think your last stop is the hole.
The hole? Okay.
Yeah. I think because of it being such an elusive place, even though it is in Redemption, it's not necessarily a well-known tavern. There
That's
are
not
other
where
taverns
I would go
throughout.
initially, like thinking to find a sword master. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it leads you to this like sort of shadier like place of like the forgotten and the sort of like destitute hang out a lot here. Like people on the fringes of society hang out in the hole, and like people who do mercenary work that isn't guild sanctioned. People like the Johans of the world hang out in this area. And I think as you're asking this amongst different people, because you, like you said, you got this newfound confidence. You faced some stuff that people only have nightmares about. So you're not necessarily going to shy away from a fight, or from a potential fight at least. And you make your way through here, and there's a gentleman sitting off in the corner, wearing this hooded robe. You don't see any of his facial features, but he's got his hands clasped over a tankard in one hand, and loosely in the other hand he has a rapier sort of balanced on the ground. And as you're he hears you sort of talking it up with a couple of the the bartenders and the wait staff and stuff. And I think he doesn't say anything to you or draw your attention, but make a mind roll for me.
Mind? Ooh, that's my worst one. Not bad. Ooh, 8. Another 9.
Another 9. As you're walking by, you see his hand move to toss the tankard of whatever fluid is left in it in your direction. What do you do? You notice it just as it's about to happen, so the liquid is in motion.
Yeah. Is he like is it being chucked at me, or is it like...
You can't tell that per se, but as you are walking by to sort of ascertain some stuff from one of the kind of bus boys types cleaning up on one of the tables, he sort of clumsily tips this tankard over, and it's going straight towards your boots.
Can I don't know if this is possible, but can I...
It's not like a bullet time, man. You can't stop the water. It's as simple as, are you going to try to stop your movement, or are you going?
No, I was going to try to do something cool, but I was going to say,
you're not on some fucking Dante's Inferno ass fucking crazy nonsense.
All right,
like the video game, not the actual play.
Yeah.
Sorry, or poem. Sorry.
I think Eldrick will just kind of sidestep, so that he doesn't sidestep the tankard and the liquid.
You kind of stop your forward progress as you see this happening right as you're about to walk through that path, and you stop and sort of look in the direction of that. And as you do, you don't notice when you turn your attention to where the liquid is coming from, you have to stop because your chin meets the tip of a rapier.
Oh shit.
And you hear a voice from under the cloak. You are asking an awful lot of questions for someone with 2 swords perfectly set on that hip.
I think you missed a sword. And I'll shift my cloak to reveal the 3rd Vorpal longsword. That's usually hidden, but the two normal ones will normally.
I think you see him sort of eye it up. And you hear him, I've got 2 weapons too, And I'm going to need you to make a body check as he takes the tankard and swings it down to the top of your head.
Okay. Oh, not good. 6, 7, 10.
10. He got an 11. You are sort of distracted by him trying to sort of boast yourself as he sort of taps you on the top of the head with the tankard, and your chin lightly kind of nudges the tip of his rapier. And he's like, come with me. And he just gets up out of the booth and walks out the door.
Oh, shit. I'll follow.
As you follow, make a.
I was impressed. I'll
as you follow, make a body check.
A body?
Yes.
I can't tell you how. I've literally rolled a 1 on each one of my 6 + 3, 9.
9. Yeah, no. He, as you're walking out the door to follow him, he cracks you in the face again with the with the tankard. Rule number 1. If you're going to master the sword, you've got to understand that there are people out there who've mastered far more than that damn weapon. You're thinking too literally. You think someone's just going to stroll up and teach you the ways of the sword. I have a rapier. You don't have a rapier. But that's not where you need to learn. You're a big guy. I could tell by your swagger and the way you walked in there. You've been in a fight. Doesn't mean shit if a chair comes at you, or a bottle, or liquid, right?
This is true.
It's not a rhetorical question. You can answer. Yeah, okay, true.
Yeah.
So what you need to focus on is less of the fundamentals of this sword mastery, as you call it, and more of distraction and deception.
I see.
Your enemy knows you have a weapon this moment you draw it. They don't know what your plan is as you sit and calculate.
Was there some wise words?
Right.
I'm pretty fucking smart.
Again, are you so he's like, I ask you again, are you prepared? And he twirls the tankard in your face on his fingers for something like this. Go ahead.
I'm prepared.
And he opens his robe up now, and as he does, you see
His penis.
Wearing no.
He's wearing his penis.
He's wearing just simple common clothes with a leather breastplate, and at his hip he has another rapier that you see now that he also flashes that seems to almost give off, when you see dry ice in a room, there's this fog of cold air. Yeah. That rapier seems to give that off as he flashes his ropes. He's like, go ahead, swing with your swords, see if you've mastered them yet. And this and I'm not going to make you roll for this. I think this is sort of the beginning of you guys' training as he teaches you that as he begins to show you effortlessly dodging each of your blows, you go into a rage state as your barbarian thing. He's dodging these magic weapons and blocking with this tankard, and you're realizing that it's not about it's almost as if he's seeing you before you make any moves. And over time, as you guys begin to train, I'll get a body roll from you now for the overall training thing.
Please don't fuck me. Oh, not good. 7.
7's not bad. 7's a mixed success. The cusp of mixed success, but yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I think over time he starts to teach you as you're learning these different techniques from him. He doesn't ever once use the rapier in an offensive thing throughout this training. He's teaching you that if you are
defense.
Yeah, he's teaching not necessarily purely defense, but almost disarming your opponent with the actions you take. He knows you're not going to have a tankard, but you do have your sword. So he's teaching you these different deflection techniques and these different techniques of if you are disarmed, how to quickly replace that sword with the other sword in your hand to kind of keep momentum. And you're picking up on it slowly, but it's just not quite clicking in your mind yet that your anxiety, your the very thing that is hard built into Eldrick is starting to manifest in these training sessions, which you've never experienced that when you're in fights, sort of, as far as I could tell through Eldrick's sort of way of being. When you're in combat, that's when you're focused, but facing an opponent like this who doesn't fight in the traditional sense of how you would expect someone to is off-putting at first, and you start to pick up on these things, and then finally it's on sort of the last day of a month of this training. He's sitting with you. He's like, we're not very different, I'd say, Eldrick. And by this point he told you his name. I forgot to say it earlier. It's Deimos Shedwell. And
Deimos?
you notice his features
John
now.
Deimos?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
Deimos Shedwell is the name of his character. And he has sort of like similar features to you, but like humanoid in that like he has scales in like various portions of his cheeks and near his eyes, and his eyes have a like reptilian sort of like bent to them, and he doesn't quite have a similar. He has a more reptilian nose in that it's flush to his face, and he has these very ostentatious sort of braids and tattoos and things like that. And you're sitting after a training session, and he sort of looks at you. He's like, I once thought that power in the physical sense was my way of making it through most opponents, most problems, most adversaries. And there were no fancy guilds in my days. We were mercenaries. And we did things for money, for fame, but all of it was to build a reputation, to build this thing bigger than yourself, to build fear in the hearts of your enemies and awe in those who looked up to you, to make them feel something before you got into the fight. I hadn't harnessed that, but my group, my team, we were known to, we weren't someone you'd fuck with is all I'd say. And one day we got a little too big for our britches. We thought untouchable types, right? We've got the weapons, we've got the goods, we've got the money, we've got the name, but we faced an opponent who didn't fight under these pretenses. A single man beat 5 armed swordsmen. And he was drunk the entire time. And he continues to tell you this tale of this drunken master monk that killed his party and left him in a state of needing to be cared for.
Are you predicting what Carveth is going to do at the
No,
end?
No. I'm
the drunken master monk.
Let's go.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I'm waiting for that alcohol and fuck to switch again.
Let's go.
He tells you how Master Hung taught him the art of distraction, and that it's all well and good to be ready for a fight, but everyone knows how to hold. A lot of people know how to hold a sword. A lot of people know how to hold a shield. A lot of people know how to protect themselves. But what people don't see coming is the unexpected. And this is when he finally is like, all right. And he stands up and he pulls out his swords. Here. And he hands you his regular rapier. Feel this in comparison to your sword. Light, airy, nothing to it. It's like an extension of your hand, right? But for you, this same sword that is heavy in my grasp, years of working and doing things, and he's flipping it effortlessly, but he's like, it feels like an extension of you as you use it. When you fight an opponent that tries to dissuade you, disarm you, keep your mind off of the focal point of the fight, that's when you are lost. But if you are that distraction, you can throw them off their game before you even lose the fight. And that's what I'm here to teach you. And he goes through these different techniques, and he, as you guys are training together, you start to pick up on this pattern of like, it's less about you thinking in the moment of what Eldrick should be doing or how Eldrick should fight with him, and finally starting to feel, this it's coming natural to you to just like, as he throws an elbow where you thought he would pick the sword up, you turn off of that hit and reach out with the sword. As he comes up for a headbutt with the rapier at your throat, you twist to the side and collide with both of these swords. And the swords almost feel like a natural part of your body at this point, as you guys have been training over the course of this time. And that's when it happens. He's finally not holding back and fighting with the swords, but in still this distracting sort of manner where he's dragging these rapiers, these light sort of feather-like swords at his sides, and he comes rushing at you, and something in you just tells you not to move. And you just hold the swords aloft and bring them together in your hands.
Oh.
And that's when the swords combine.
Yes.
No longer is it a sapphire longsword and a topaz longsword, reminiscent of your dear friends who got you started on this adventure in your life. Now you hold in your hands a longsword of dazzling green gemstone with flecks of light kind of refracting off it. As you hear in unison their voice speak in your head, "You've got this." He rushes you in a flurry of blows that you haven't seen, as you see him in this moment almost smile. This whole time he's kind of been this gruff hard ass on you, but as you guys are having this final bout and he sees you kind of owning this moment, he's shocked that you are now fighting him with one sword as he was. And you deflect each of these blows effortlessly and come with a flourishing spin and stop at his neck. As he looks up at you, the swords are nowhere near you. You've knocked them clean from his hands, and he smiles. "I think you get it now, kid. I'm thinking you're ready. You didn't need a sword master. You needed a good kick in the pants."
And then he too disappears and becomes a sword.
He's like, "But holy shit, does your sword normally do this?" And that's when as he says that, you kind of like come out of that trance-like state that you've been in, and you look in your hand at this new thing, and you realize without even trying, you've summoned up this power in that, like, you've freed yourself to the dance that is combat. And this sword has been manifested through this sort of almost primal ritual that you and him have been going through over the course of this time. And you're holding in your hands no longer, I think it's Sapphire's Edge and Topaz's something, but now it is Malachite's Mercy.
Yes.
What's going through Eldrick's mind right now?
Mainly just bewilderment. I'll try to talk to the two in my swords.
They speak as one entity when you do try to contact them. They're like, we are them, but also a little bit of you. This isn't just us doing this. You did this. And I'll be honest, whether it's will or some sort of fated thing, I'm thinking we could do a lot of good work with this. We're going to go on to Kornoth as the final one, just because like we established so much in the last one. It's not so much that I'm like putting your story on the back burner at all, but like you got the gem, you got at least one of your gems, you got a portion of your family back. Like you've had growth, my guy. Like what is next for Kornoth?
So
what is
Kornoth?
I know we touched on it a little bit at the beginning here where we talked about potentially purifying the gem and whatnot, but like,
so what is his priority is getting the remaining gem. He does want to purify them, but that's so far away from what he's done before that like he wants to get the artifact fully restored and then he would want to purify it. And also I think his approach is going to change. He spent years researching at the restuary and he learned a lot doing that, but he never got any closer to the gems. He was finally able to get a gem by just going and beating the crap out of bad people. And so
but who would have thought,
so for him,
it seemed like
the thing he took away was that his approach, he was so worried because like his whole life was very much so built around this notion that like he wants to honor his ancestors, but he thinks they were wrong because they took such a brute force approach to things. And because of everything that happened, like he was able to reconnect with his family. Like he made more progress by just being a little bit of a brute and like being okay with that than he did in the years he spent reading and learning and like mastering all the magical arts and stuff. So he's kind of shifted where he's like a blend of both is probably the actual right approach. So I imagine him, have you ever seen the beginning the beginning part of Death Pool where he's looking for Francis. Deadpool?
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. Basically, I was thinking it was like maybe an anime or something.
No. Basically, he is going to murder a lot of people. Like he's going and like
wait.
Yes. So like he's going because the Restuary at its core is getting artifacts and stuff.
But not every artifact is owned by a person or
No. He's specifically going after the ones that are being smuggled. Like are a part of like underground, not stuff where like they're artifacts that are fully lost. Where it's like, oh, you have to go
stuff
through
that they know is like floating about.
Yeah,
that has been either stolen or like.
He has specifically decided that he is going to try to tackle the illegal market of these things. So that's something where it's like that used to not be something that he was interested in because he didn't think that's how he would get the gems. The first gem he found was this shady dude who had corrupted it or whatever. And so in his head, he's like, I obviously still want to retrieve mine. I don't think the answer is in a book anymore. I think the answer is beating the crap out of really smugglers.
Good. No, for sure. I think tying back to the mission that kind of set this sort of mindset off.
Yeah.
You speak with Kama about like, you know, wanting to be more of an action oriented thing. And like, you haven't had like a set role in Restuary yet. So she's like, you can be a delver if you want and actually go out to the field and do this stuff. I tell you what, it's not necessarily an artifact you would be recovering. However, a misuse of potential magic and or an artifact. You remember the means by which the group broke into the Hands of Progress, right? The purple fire, crazy explosions. It turns out that there might have been a middleman who provided those explosives. And whether or not they know where they went or if that was tainted by what we can assume now is the dealings that Siegfried had. The point is, someone supplied them with explosive devices, whether those are artifacts or magical by nature or amped up by some of Siegfried's work remains to be seen, but we have a tip of a potential person dealing with explosive adjacent things hiding out nearing the second layer just off the outskirts of the Underwood in one of the varying tunnels leading to the lower area. There is a system of tunnels that the Booglin blocked off long ago when there were some disputes between them and the surface dwellers, and since then a lot of them have been cleared, but one remains uncleared with very little known of how to get in there. But there have been some rumblings of adventurers and other types trying to get through there with a bit disastrous results. If you could potentially see if there's some kook with a bunch of dynamite holed up in a hole somewhere, or some rogue wizard who's just trying to plot some sort of terrorist sort of threat. I don't want to say that loud, you know, I don't want to get everybody scared, but it could be bad, or it could just be a guy. Who knows? Some guy trying to mine. There's gold in them tunnels, he thinks. But I think this would be a good lead, both because of how close you are to that mission. And I think while I can't involve you with what we are dealing with currently, this will keep you sort of in the loop, as it were.
I believe... Not
putting you on an errand.
No.
You
I believe this is wise. And
Ooh.
I want to...
Are we going to get to see... And Jeanhan pipes up. Are we going to get to see an explosion?
I like how Jean's just like a baby.
Oh, Jihan.
No, he just hasn't done anything outside of Restuary. I figure within this time too, he's he's also been enrolled in like helping you with your research stuff. Like he's not a duller.
Yeah.
I don't want to give that impression,
that's
but
not what I
he's
was
very
saying.
excited about everything.
Jihan, we are going to see a lot of big explosions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Kornoth like flexes his gauntlets now with a little bit more energy than they used to have. Yeah, he's taking a very different approach to life after the events. Not that it's a better approach, it's just a different approach.
No, I get what you mean. So you guys, after getting briefed with that, and Kama kind of gives you it's not a mission proper, but she sends you like a note of some of the information she relayed to you, to your Arclight tablet, and you and Jean Han set out to the Underwood to start looking through some of these tunnels that people hadn't explored for a while, but people are exploring through now with the trails and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But specifically, this one is sort of ducked off in a corner nearing the back half of the Underwood, and you guys take this path off to the side and go ahead and give me, what would that be? I guess you're looking directions and stuff using your brain. Go ahead, give me a mind roll. I don't think you use your body to fucking look at a hole.
Look in that hole. Gross.
Yeah, 10 on a 10. You guys, for the better half of like I'd say an hour, you spend looking through these varying tunnels, and then you come across one that has the telltale signs of the Booglan sort of ceiling, of these sort of threads of this gossamer pink and teal colored sort of like silk like bindings that almost look like, you know, when like people stretch sugar to make like taffy, it looks like that, but like real fucked up and hard. And you find this area, and there's like clearly a smaller sort of hole portioned out for a smaller body, and then like you can tell that some of this has been haphazardly put back up, like maybe it could be open further, and it doesn't take too much with your gauntlets and everything. You just kind of tear back the thing, and as you peer down this hole, you can see not the Booglan strands, but faintly as you use, I'd assume like some sort of light to check down the tunnel, thin strands throughout of some sort of wiring, just like in crisscrossing patterns and stuff like that. If you would like, you could either do a body roll or a mind roll to try and assess what these might be. Well, a body roll would be trying to shimmy past them, and like not even assess them. A mind roll would be trying to check out what it is.
So the difference in his approach is now he's going to use his mind to figure out what it is, but then he is going to like once he gets that information, he'll try to solve the problem with a brute force approach rather than like some kind of clever whatever, like punching the wall at the right spot to make the fucking all of them activate while he's not, like while he's safe.
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
Okay, so that's an 11 to determine like what these are.
Ooh, 11? Okay, yeah. On an 11, I would say you see, as you peer down into it, you can see these are indeed threads, almost like fishing line, like some kind of like really wispy, like slightly opaque cord tied off to varying chunks of stone and stalactites within this tunnel. And nearing the end of the other side of that cord, you can see what appears to be a almost like a kunai, or like a small dagger and a sheet of paper with a rune drawn on it. What languages do you speak?
If I remember correctly, it's Giant, Dwarvish, and Common.
Giant, Dwarvish, and Common. I'd say you with the Giant for sure. You can see that this is the Giant's rune for fire.
Okay, so presumably there's some kind of area where
what you can see on an 11, because that is a full success. These strands are not individual. They are tied and pinned down with these different varying knife points onto varying papers in this sort of crisscrossing pattern, to where if you know how to travel through it and are small enough, you could probably easily shimmy your way through it. But if you hit one, it will trip the entirety of this hallway.
And how far away is that glyph?
I'd say from where you're peering in right now, about 30, 35 feet.
Okay. So his brute force solution is he wants to pick up a large as possible boulder as he can and hum it directly at the glyph, because if it's fire, it will. So in his head,
I get what you.
It'll hit the strands, which will activate it, but then the fire will blast the boulder, but then the boulder will hit and destroy the glyph. That's what he's going for, with just like he picks up a massive rock and hurls it.
Give me a body roll.
All right, that is an 8, so mixed success.
8, yeah. You throw it, and the rock hits. It hits the edge of the thing, knocking the knife out of the wall, and the paper falls. And as it does, you see a huge fireball erupt right in that spot, and it rocks, and it goes up the chain of the tunnel, and you see all of these things go alight as fireball goes off. And you were standing at the entrance of that as a column of dust and pebbles and rocks come blasting the opposite direction as this air is quickly jettisoned out from the explosion. And you kind of hold your gauntlets up and are hit by these rocks and kind of cut up a bit. And Jinhan kind of steps behind you with his staff in his hand. He's like, "You weren't kidding." And you look back and you definitely have like rocks lodged in your face.
Oh.
Like, I know we don't have HP right now, but like, you took some damage.
No, yes. Like, but he is pleased with himself because he knows he would have spent 30 minutes, like an hour, trying to fully comprehend this whole mechanism, and he solved it in 30 seconds.
As you kind of look back with like a few singes coming off you, Jinhan kind of looks at you and he's like, do you think, and now aren't we looking for someone or a group potentially of someone's? Do you think that if they're in there, they definitely know we're out here, right?
Oh, so, yes.
Do we need to sneak? Can't we just like walk?
I'm done sneaking. And he activates his gauntlets.
Oh.
And he just fucking starts sprinting, like full fucking Goliath sprinting.
I think
glowing.
I think it's reminiscent of like how moles tunnel through the earth as like these huge gauntlets as you're just ripping the wall wider and running through this section into what you presume to be wherever this location is that Kama was saying that this person potentially was hiding out. And as you make it into the center of this place, you can see these soot-covered walls, and Jinhan's kind of just trying to keep pace as you're like just tear-assing through it, like a very different vibe of Kornoth. I like it. But you enter into this small chamber, and there is a table flipped over facing you with its base. There's a few papers strewn about the wall, but no considerable traps, and you don't see anything. You can see like vague scorch marks of the last few bombs kind of entering this room, and like the front of the table is a little burned and like singeing at the corners. But give me a mind check.
That is an 11.
An 11? Oh shit. Okay, yeah. Fuck.
Good rolls.
While you don't see anyone, you can hear faint whimpered breathing in the room.
Whimpered breathing?
Yes, whimpering.
Okay.
You're looking around and you can see past that table, and there's no one behind the table. But you can hear within this chamber almost like cowering.
Okay. If you reveal yourself now, I shall not harm you. If not, I make no promises in your fate.
There's a silence, and you hear, if you listen, I'm not. There's a lot of us here. There's so many of us. We're in the walls. You set off my trap, but you don't seem hurt. You better get out of here.
Oh yes.
And he kind of and the voice leaves.
That was
like it doesn't leave it leave the room, but like it goes silent.
I'm going to tell you now, I do not consider that revealing yourself. You get one more try, and then things are going to happen, And I am not promising those things will go well for you.
I'm not selling any more of this stuff. So if you hear about the hall,
I want Kornoth to absolutely fucking destroy this table in front of him. Just absolutely, like, use the gauntlets, charge them with magical energy, and just punch them to just, like, decimate. Like, he's trying his best to disintegrate this fucking table.
Mm-hmm. Give me a soul roll as you are trying to intimidate this entityless voice.
9. God,
9?
hot.
Yeah, no, you destroy this table, and then just behind this table, you don't see anything as the dust clears, but you see a slow puddle starting to form right behind where the table used to be.
Is it piss?
It's piss.
Oh, is it really?
And yes, and you see, as you see, this invisibility drop, and there is in front of you a tiny albino kobold with a braided beard with many wicks braided throughout the beard that are kind of they seem to have been recently like snuffed out, like you can kind of smell smoke on them, but he's wearing overalls and he's got like a like 3 compartment fanny pack, and he's just looking up at you like his life just flashed before his eyes, because where your fists are still laying in the ground, he's mere inches away from them.
Right. That's perfect. Okay, so Kornoth is going to a wise decision. Now, I would like to hear your side of the story, but my friend here is very good at detecting truth. Don't lie to me.
And Jihan pipes up, yeah, I'll know. I'll know if you're lying. I'll know that. Better not, otherwise my friend's gonna touch you with his big hands. And he's just, okay. Message received. Listen, I know I said that stuff about not selling. You can buy some of my works if you want. I just, please, these. And he reaches it like with one hand still up into his fanny pack. It's just that here, and he passes you like a small stack of those little papers with the fire runes on them. And he's like, I also have these, and you can tell these are like artificers, like crafts of like fireworks and pyrotechnics and things, and like that explosion that left the soot and stuff in the hallway was like the only big bang he probably had on it.
Right.
He's like, I make fireworks. I make things. I made some for these people that gave me specialty. It was a commission job. If you need that, that's going to be time. I know but you've broken my table. I can't work if I don't have.
You have misunderstood why I am here. This is not. I am not interested in your runes. I'm not interested in upending your business. I'm interested in the fact that a bomb you made was used to steal an artifact. I have a particular egregiousness to having artifacts stolen. You have offended me personally. Now, you are going to help me prevent this from happening again.
You see him as you say that genuinely look like shocked and kind of confused. He's like, this? And he lights one of the like bottle rocket-esque sort of draconic like head-like things, and it explodes into like this rain of like sparks and stuff like that. And he ties one of those papers to another one. And he does it again. This is what I make. I've never made a bomb. I mean, that in the hallway, that took days. And that was the only one I have.
Why?
I didn't make a bomb. I've sold people some of my works. Some of these fireworks, some of these scrolls. They gave me some supplies to use, like special papers and special powders, but...
Kornoth wants to describe to him the exact manner in which the vault was?
I don't even think you have to. I think you could pull up the
like the video itself
on your ArcLight tablet, and you would show him that, and he sees the work, and he can recognize the signature of his magic faintly on this. But he's like, that.
Whether or not intended, you have become involved. I need you to help me uninvolve you.
Okay. And he stops for a moment, and he touches a hand to like his temple, and you see him kind of like look off in the middle distance, and then like even though he is albino, the color leaves his face, and he's like, yes, everything you want to know about this. Yes, I did sell someone these. It's a lot. I didn't know anything about this, and I have no way of selling you on whether or not that is truth. You know nothing of me. But I can't talk. One second. And he murmurs under his breath really quickly with his hand on his temple, and he looks back at you. We have to we should have this conversation somewhere else, right? In a different location that is safe for both of us. That's not my lair, right? You and your partner here have the upper hand. I am an old man with fireworks, but I have a partner, my sort of associate. He is he's the muscle, and he got tipped off when the trap you sprung happened, and he works for an even scarier guy than him, if you can believe that. And I would just like to not be here when he comes back looking for it. I know he'll be looking for me, but I think he might be involved in some way with what you are asking me.
Oh, really?
This is not a by choice situation, I can assure you.
Okay.
If we could just
this
leave here so you
this is a good plan. You hang out here. No, you hang out here.
He stops. He's like, please. And he moves a big tapestry from the back of the wall, and he knocks on a stone a couple times, and this sheet of rock just slides away to another hidden tunnel. And he's like, we can get out through here. The big one doesn't know about this. He's a good close quarters combat kind of guy, and you with those big gloves aren't going to do well against him. I don't see that going well, and I don't want any bloodshed. I apparently broke into a place I've never been. This is all a lot.
Let me ask you this.
I'm very scared.
This is a very simple question I have for you. Would capturing this partner increase or decrease the likelihood of getting the results I'm after? As you seem more to be a fireworks man. That is what I thought. Jinhan, get in the tunnel with him.
We can.
And he pushes them both into the tunnel and shuts it.
Jinhan kind of just like pushes him with his staff. Sorry. And he's just shoving him into the tunnel.
So like I said, he is now approaching things in a brutal way, but in a smart way. This is kind of this is more going back to D&D stuff. He is also capable of making glyphs. And there's only one entrance to this place. So he is going to glyph the ceiling, floor, and both walls with explosive glyph. And have them trigger based on if he snaps his fingers.
I got you. Okay,
and he's just going to sit in a chair looking at the entrance folded, just waiting for this tough guy to show up.
I think it's a few moments, and give me... No, I don't even think you need to give me that. You start to feel the atmosphere of the room that you're in. Like the air almost feels like it's getting sucked to the center as a rift opens up and a portal appears in the center of the room.
He's going to counterspell it. Like it's very hard for me to like.
Give me a contested mind roll here. I gotta pull up this guy's character sheet real quick because I didn't expect you to. Yeah, no, that works.
I'm sorry. It's just like 10. It's very hard to play this out mechanically because basically he just has a grab bag of spells to amplify his new brute force approach.
6. He got an 11. So you go to do the counter spell, but I think the Arcana you used in setting up the glyph sort of thing, it kind of caught you off guard as you were setting up your chair to get ready. You turned to do it in that moment, but the portal's closing in that instance, and standing with his back facing the hall as if they were like expecting you to be running the opposite direction. Mm-hmm. You see with a top knot and shaved sides, a red-skinned gentleman with lightly sharpened ears, slightly short of stature, but very stocky, sort of corded muscle, standing on these sandals that have very tall, one-centered points that come to them in the middle, almost like Edo period Japanese shoes, but they're just on one stalk that he's standing on with this metal grip that clangs to the floor as he steps out of the portal. And he has lightly armored plate over him in the style of what you might recognize as a swordsman of some kind, but nothing you've seen before. And he has a large sword at one hip and a slightly smaller sword at the other side. He turns to you and you get a good look at his face now and you see it as a hobgoblin. Red-skinned, except for his nose is a bright, stark blue, almost like pig-like upturned with slight tusks. And he has these cold, yellow irised with purple pupilled eyes. And he turns to you and with one hand on the large sword on his hip, he just kind of cocks his head to the side. And then he smiles. Holy shit. I cannot believe it.
Do I recognize him?
No, you do not. But you get the sense of him doing that he definitely recognizes you. And he starts to like laugh, like belly roll laugh, like almost like guffawing. He's holding his stomach and he wipes a single tear from his eye. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's very rude of me to enter a room and this is rich. So I take it you're here because of him. And I know he's probably invisible somewhere, so I just pointed in a random guessing spot, like he might be a prisoner or something. The small one, right?
Accurate.
Grucci, he says, what have you told this guy?" And
I'm assuming there's no response.
Did they leave, or are they just hiding in the tunnel waiting for you?
They're hiding in the tunnel, but Jihan.
Yeah,
I'm assuming Jihan wouldn't let him like respond because.
I think if you gave Jihan specific commands, I think there's nothing. And he's like,
No, okay. He is not here anymore. He warned me. He was like, there is a very scary man coming, and all this talk of.
You misunderstand. I thought this was just run of the mill adventurers, or maybe Booglin types or wild animals coming in. It happens, but this, you, Kornoth. It is so great to finally see you in person. Where's the rest of the party? Boognacious?
You're speaking
Eldrick.
As a very tough man, so I'm quite confident you'll survive this. And he snaps his fingers to activate all 4 glyphs.
Holy shit.
This guy's acting way too confident.
No, I know.
And Kornoth is punishing him for it.
I don't know how this would work in terms of this sort of playstyle. So I'll just roll body to see against a mind roll for you. So
okay. Oof! I actually rolled not great. 9 total.
9 total.
Mm-hmm. But with 4 glyphs, even not going well, is still going to do a lot.
For sure. I think as you snap, this explosion goes off and you kind of shield yourself with your gauntlet as you sit in the chair. And there's this moment of silence as like rubble and stuff is starting to collect and fall at the entrance, and you don't see him. But then you hear, "Now, is this any way to treat someone who's brought you into their home, into their little hideaway as a guest? We can save a lot of time if you tell me how you found here and why you're alone. And then I'll tell you exactly how I know you and your little friends." You notice, though, that he did not mention Genon. He just mentioned you, Boognacious, and Eldrick by name.
So does it sound similarly to whenever it was the other guy who was like invisible? Like it sounds like he's just invisible somewhere in here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can tell that he is.
I have
somehow.
This is another thing
invisible.
where it's like, it's hard to fully do this without. I have see invisibility.
Okay.
That I didn't
so
use because yeah.
Yeah, give me a mind roll to see if you can perceive him, because even if you can see him being invisible,
right,
he could still potentially be hidden in the room.
Right. Oh, that's bad. 6. Wait, I'm sorry. 7, because it's mine.
Yeah, you can't quite, with the still sort of echoing from that backing tunnel of everything kind of collapsing and kind of cracking and settling. You can't quite pick up on where he is with it. Because of all the dust in the air. But then you hear a whooshing, and I'm going to need you to make a body roll.
Okay.
A contested body roll. He just rolled a 7 plus 4. That is...
Oh, good lord.
11.
I rolled a 1 and a 2, so I got 3 plus 2, 5. Rolling real bad.
Oh, no.
You, as you're like peering with your eyes sort of like...
We're going to have to go
this,
rescue
haze
Kornoth,
of magic
aren't we?
around them.
No.
Having this haze of magic around them, the hilt of a sword crashes into the temple, into your temple, and you kind of stagger back into the doorway of that hall. And he goes, "Now listen, you aren't my priority, Kornoth. I was hoping that you would have brought Eldrick."
I'm just going to
Eldrick sneezes.
I was going to tell you this. I'm just going to tell you this.
I don't give a shit about you or that bug. This guy's a bad guy. I'm trying to establish it. Sorry. It's okay.
Oh, no.
It's my race. I made them up. I can say that. You can't.
No, you're totally good. The thing I was going to say is, I don't know if that, like I said, I don't know if this is the right approach. Kornoth is changing his approach. He's not having a conversation anymore. He is going to fully charge his gauntlets, like the overclocking where it hurts himself.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And punch this guy. Use that like teleport step punch.
No, do it.
To,
Fuck yeah.
Punch this guy.
Eclipse breaker or whatever.
Yeah, in the back, not in the back, like both hands like down, like
he did
teleport
Leech.
behind.
Give me.
He killed the leech with.
I'll say for this, since you're pumping the charges, give me a mind versus body roll.
11.
11? Yeah. No, he clocks you in the head, and you can see him in this sort of like stance as he's getting ready to lunge back at you, but you, like a boxer, shake it off, bring your hands up, and just appear in front of him and bring an elbow into his solar plexus, and then that charged fish straight to his gut as he goes flying back into the wall, and all that rubble begins to pile on top of him. What do you do?
The rubble's like falling onto him, right?
Like some of the rubble begins to fall on him, not like enough to like bury him, but like he's fallen back into the pile of rubble, so rubble is going to fall loose. As he falls into the rubble, he springs up in a way that you weren't expecting, and that's when you notice there is a shield tied to his back that he hasn't used, but he begins to spin on the ground on this shield on his back and brings one of the swords at your ankles. Like, he hops in such a way that he literally b-boy style starts spinning at you with this sword out. Like, it's not an orthodox fighting style, but this has become the theme of most people you've encountered fighting so far.
Okay. Oh, this is gonna be awesome because I'll get to use one of my tattoos in a non-conventional way that is fun.
As he pops back up, he's like, "No, that's the kind of stuff I want to see," and he fucking jumps into this spin and he brings the sword after you for. Go ahead and give me a body roll.
Hold on.
Oh, this is.
I think I'm going to need to roll a mind because I'm going to activate one of my new body tattoos.
Yes. Oh shit.
One of my new body tattoos allows me to go ethereal for like a minute 3 times a day. But I'm not going to use it for the full minute. I'm going to use it for this attack, and then I'm going to jump in the air ethereally, then remanifest and fucking smash him with a charge.
Then I don't even think you need to roll me that mind.
I figured mine just to like see if I'm quick enough to actually. Oh shit! That's 11 on the die, so 14.
Oh.
So actually, I don't even want to jump up. I just want to turn ethereal as his blade like would connect, and then as soon as his blade is through, punch him in the face like physically.
Fuck yeah! So he spins at your ankles with the sword out, and you go ethereal and hop up, and he got a 7 with the dice. So he definitely missed that. And as he spins, thinking he's going to get the upper hand with this distraction, you fucking Danny Phantom, you go ghost, and you fucking hop up and become solid and or take physical form in the air and clasp your hands together and bring them down for like a sort of haymaker smash on him, like a turtle on its back, as he coughs like a mix of air and spittle out of his lungs, as he was not expecting.
I want to put one of my very large Goliath feet on his large blade and look down at him and like, I am no longer the Kornoth that you've heard about. I don't have nearly the patience. You get one chance. I'm not after you.
And he just looks up at you with the boot still on his chin. He's like, "Oh, but I am after you, my friend. What specifically? Your friends." And he points a fist up at you, and you see this gold insigniaed ring on his hand. And that's when you realize, through a discerning arcane eye and working with Restuary, that he is wearing a spell ring, like one of those rings that can store spells within it. And you see the ember of a fireball beginning to form. Give me a mind, contested mind.
Oh, there we go. Here's good rolls. 11. Wait. Yes, 11.
11? You just beat it by 1. So he points the ring up at you, and the fireball is starting to form in your face, and you just kind of...
Oh, this is beautiful.
Blow it out.
So and he's like... I want him to grab it with one gauntlet, and he says, I think someone else might need to talk to you. And I want to try to knock him out with my other fist. With my other gauntlet.
This is going to be contested. This is body v body to see if he can handle the hit. And I'll be honest, body is his strong suit, if you haven't noticed.
That's 10.
The dice are saying otherwise.
I got 2 4s.
10?
Yeah, 2 4s plus 2, 10.
That's 4 plus 7. That's 11. You hit him, and he doesn't go unconscious, but he slips in that moment of the punch from your grasp of your other hand and is now kind of standing. Listen. We've had a lot of fun, but I'm going to ask you one more time. Where is Eldrick?
Man, that was a lot of fun. It sure was cool to see what these characters were up to. I do hope that we'll get to see them all together soon though. Maybe that'll happen soon. Who knows? Boognacious, Kornoth, and Eldrick will return to the MCU soon.